Geometry. This is the study of nature, of the codes, the mathematical codes behind physical reality. So today we're going to be going deep into geometry and the true esoteric internal geometry, the geometry that no one really talks about, and how geometry relates to human consciousness. So essentially, what we must understand when it comes to geometry, the basics of geometry is everything is vibration. And this vibration is vibrating on a certain frequency. And this certain frequency creates a geometric shape, which is why in nature we see all of these different geometric shapes. All matter takes form in shapes. So if we put sand on a plate and we vibrate the plate on a specific frequency, we see that the sand goes into specific geometric shapes and patterns. So essentially, matter is energy condensed. It's energy vibrating on a low frequency, vibrating at a certain frequency. So matter is condensed energy. And each geometric shape is manifesting and showing a specific energy. Some shapes carry more energies than others. For example, the cube is what traps energy, a square is what traps energy. So, geometry and the flowers are basically how energy manifests itself into physical matter. We are in a world made out of energy or light. Light is energy. So everything is vibration, everything is frequency, and everything is energy. Even the words, each atom in our body, everything. So everything in nature has these mathematical energetic codes. So geometry is basically the study of nature and the shapes that are in nature and their energetic principles. Because, like I said, matter is energy. So this is what we call cymatics. When we place water in a petri dish and we shine light on top and we vibrate the water, and we can capture. This creates certain patterns. Each frequency, like you see here, has its own pattern. So what we are seeing here in the physical plane is essentially energy condensed into physical reality. We see it in the turtle. We see it in every single form in nature. Now, external geometry and normal geometry, we normally get taught that this is God's way of creating physical reality, which is essentially true. However, it's far more deeper than that. Far, far, far more deeper. Okay. So, what geometry truly is, it's not God's codes to reality. What we must understand is what the brain truly is. And what we must understand is that we are not in the world. We are not in the universe. The universe is us ourselves. And the world is produced by our brain itself. Okay. So the way you must understand how the brain works, so what you visually see, so geometry is to do with what we visually see. And what we visually see is heavily connected with our eyes, which are an extension of the brain. The eyes are the brain. And essentially, how we see is energy enters the eyes, and each eye goes to the optic nerve. And this energy is transferred into electricity, which travels to the back of the brain, to the visual cortex of our brain. And this is where the image is produced, what we see. Therefore, the world outside of us is truly inside of us. It's a projection from within the brain. The brain is an energy condenser, a decelerator, an energy decelerator. Everything outside of us is basically formless energy. It is formless energy vibrating at a certain frequency. So, what the brain is, it's sucking in this energy, this light, and turning that frequency, that code, that light code, into a physical reality. It's condensing the energy and turning it into a visual image inside of the brain. Therefore, everything outside of you is not what it looks like. Everything outside of you is basically energy, infinite energy. And our brain is condensing this into a physical reality and projecting it outwardly, which you experience your visual field. Okay. And the ancients knew this. So this is basically called the sigil of Lucifer. Lucifer is known as the light bringer. Lucifer in Latin means to bring the light. This is the sigil of Lucifer, which shows the visual field and the brain. We also see this in the Google Play symbol. It's a powerful symbol showing you the visual field, which is basically a symbol that tells you that reality is inside of the brain. The brain is what produces reality, but consciousness is not produced in the brain. The brain is essentially a consciousness downloader. It's a computer and it's a reality simulator. The body is a simulation of physical reality. You are inside of the body experiencing the body simulation. The body produces this reality. It's a piece of technology. So Lucifer is to bring the light. Lucifer is the light being produced in our brains. Okay. So this is why they say Lucifer can tempt you. Lucifer can be the devil because it represents physicality. It represents the false light. Lucifer can trick you because it represents the physical world can trick who you truly are. So now that you understand how the brain is basically an energy decelerator and it creates and simulates a reality to your consciousness, you are no longer a person in a universe. You are the universe itself experiencing itself. Therefore, geometry is heavily linked in with the brain. Geometry is essentially how your brain and how your eyes decode energy. So what you are seeing is the mathematical codes of your brain creating reality. So what they teach you is the external is that geometry is God's way of creating this world, and these are the mathematical codes God's created. But now I'm telling you the internal. This is the truth. Geometry is how your brain mathematically condenses energy and light into a physical reality. So therefore, your brain is a computer program. So now geometry is nothing outside of you. Geometry is not something created by something else. It's created by your brain. Your brain produces these patterns through mathematical codes by breaking down energy into physical reality. And this is why you see geometry in everything around you. This completely changes your view on geometry. It's in your ear, it's in your face, it's in everything. Geometry is everything. Okay. So now that you understand this, now, as we were talking about the visual field earlier, the ancients knew about this. The ancient Egyptians knew about this. We can see this symbolism inside of the casket, the Egyptian casket. See, this crossover represents the visual field. This represents the back of the brain. This is the left hemisphere, the right hemisphere. And now some of the most simplest teachings in geometry is that straight lines are masculine and curved lines are feminine. And we even see this in the human body. The feminine human body is curvy and the masculine human body is liney. And even with the genital reproductive area, we have a line and a curve, 0 and 1, the binary code of all creation, 0 and 1, because that's basically all that exists. Nothingness and one, nothingness and God, nothingness and consciousness. That's all that exists. Now that I've told you that, the basics of geometry and the line and the curve and the feminine and the masculine, what do we have here? You see this stick here? This is a curve. And what's the right hemisphere? The right hemisphere is the feminine, the feminine energy, the feminine aspect of our brain. Then we have a straight line. This is straight lines. Now this represents the left brain. So the Egyptians are showing you the left masculine brain and the right feminine brain because of the curve and the straight line. And this is the visual field, the crossover. So there's a crossover in the brain. The left eye is connected to the right brain. The right eye is connected to the left brain. Okay, so the left eye is connected to the right brain. The right eye is connected to the left brain. The solar and the lunar. So, like I said, everything outside of you is basically energy. Your body is basically a holographic avatar, condensed energy produced by your brain. There's nothing actually outside of you. Your five senses are electrical threads of light. And when you touch something, this is basically electrical signals in your nervous system, which are reporting back to the brain. Therefore, what you touch is actually, you're not touching. The feeling that you feel when you touch something is not the true feeling. That's your nervous system you're feeling. You're feeling your nervous system in the brain. It's electrical signals to your brain. So the five senses do not decode, well, what you're experiencing as the five senses is not outside of you. This is your brain interpreting electrical signals. You don't experience the world, you experience your nervous system and your brain. The nervous system is an extension of the brain. So this is the truth. This is not woo-woo spirituality. This is true consciousness science that I'm teaching you here. Okay? So nothing is truly outside of you. It is a universe. You yourself are the universe, the fabric of the universe itself. The only thing that exists outside of you is essentially energy. That is it. And your body and your brain condenses this energy into reality. So when we look into architecture, why is architecture, the ancient architecture, so important? Because what did I tell you at the beginning? Shapes and physical matter is condensed energy. Each shape holds specific energy. Some shapes hold more energy, emit more energy. Some shapes condense energy. Some shapes transfer energy. Each shape, each geometric shape has an energetic principle because matter is essentially energy. So when we look into cathedrals and the ancient buildings, they were filled with geometric patterns, geometric shapes, because they understood the energy principle. Architecture is basically solid energy. It's physical energy. If we create this pattern here is an energy code. And if you stand next to it, you're going to gain that energy. It's going to be imprinted on your body. So essentially, they filled their buildings with high energy geometric shapes. Points, triangles, pyramids are very, very energetic. This is why you have crystal pyramids made, organite pyramids. They're always in pyramid shapes. That's why the Egyptians built in pyramids, because pyramids hold high energy. They emit high energy. So this is why you see all these different geometric patterns. Okay. So in the real reality, in the energetic plane, this building would basically look like this: lines and grids of energy. Okay. This is what it would look like in the energetic plane, a blueprint of the energy body. So as you see here, these are the different frequencies in a petri dish, of water in a petri dish. And you can see they are specifically aligned up with these specific patterns. You can see geometry even within geometry. It's fractal. So essentially, when you would stand inside of these buildings, they would imprint the energy of the building in your body, because your body is healed through energy. You have an electromagnetic field around your body. So by creating buildings with geometric patterns, we are essentially increasing the energy of the building, because the building itself is energy. Okay. So when we fill it with geometric patterns, we're increasing the energy. We're giving it a certain energetic imprint. So when you stand inside of that building, you're being imprinted with that energy. Okay. So especially with these windows, these stained glass windows. Well, why are they stained glass? Well, color is frequency. So when you have all of these different colors, and not only were they just painted, some of these colors are specific gemstones, crystals, natural stones, which all hold energetic principles. Each crystal is vibrating on a certain frequency. Wood has its own frequency, metal has its own frequency. What you must understand is that everything in nature is not just a